All right. Welcome to the Agora, the inside Love City, to yet another of our inspirational talks. And yeah, this is one of our talks on our key topics with Laufen that are on innovation, on sustainability, on well-being and on design, and of course also on all the combination of it. Um, you can check them out. They are recorded on our website, ISA website, or also on YouTube later on. We all have the motto, a new era of connectivity. And after those 4 years, we need it. We need to come together and be together and get a dialogue, really. And that's what it's all about. My name is Frank Liebetrau, 20 years with Laufen, and Senior Development Manager here. So why the why? What is the reason why we talk about that? And the reason or meaning gives success, gives resilience, gives health, and that's what we want to do. And what is the meaning of meaning? And eventually, it is definitely what drives us, what pushes us as a free human being. This is really important. Being free, what drives us, and the opposite is fear. Yeah, this pushes us, and who wants to be pushed? We all want to be free. And a person that has, almost dedicated his life to this topic is Viktor Frankl. Viktor Frankl, we have some colleagues from Vienna here, born in Vienna, and he founded the third Vienna school. First one was Sigmund Freud, second Alfred Adler, and the third one Viktor Frankl. And where Sigmund Freud said, the topic on what we speak today, the question of meaning, and he wrote this in a letter to Madame Bonaparte, is the best sign that you are ill, that there is something wrong. Viktor Frankl said exactly the opposite. The question of meaning is an essential question for health, for becoming health, for staying healthy, and that is why this is also the topic here. Talking about Viktor Frankl, he lived very long. He died in the end of the 90s with 92 years old. It was not given that he became that old because he lived in very challenging times. He worked already as a doctor in the late 30s in Vienna in a hospital as neurologist and a psychiatrist. And up until the early 40s, he got the chance to move out in this situation and decided not to go to USA to secure his family, his parents, not for taking away and to be deported. But still, it yet happened. Eventually, he survived 4 concentration camps. And when he came back, all his family and his wife were gone, died. And in this desperation, he completely dedicated his life into this topic. He had actually, before he got arrested, he had a book ready for publishing. So publishing was oriented on meaning. He had it in his code. The code was taken, so he had to write this book again. And then he became later on professor in Vienna, professor in San Diego, professor in Harvard, wrote over 30 books in 40 languages about that. So he is the person that first also opened this psychosomatic topics, because one of his core elements was the self as a core of a human. And to be in touch with us, with the self, is so important for finding our meaning, and only our meaning, and also to be resilient in difficult times. That was also one reason why he really made it. And in the new times, we have actually we have the situation that we know more, and I come to neuroscience, etc. And the will to find this meaning is absolutely important. This is why we also speak today about it, because we need to be conscious on wanting to find and defining our meaning. And interesting, the neuroscience, yeah, the last 10 years, it completely changed everything. And I want to mention Professor Joachim Bauer, German professor from Freiburg and now Berlin. He was actually researching on influence on the genes of the self. And the neuroscience located the self. And they found out there where in Indian culture you have the red circle, behind here is the self network. And this is active right now as we speak. Yeah? We are corresponding. Very near to it is the you. And the big principle of resonance, yeah? If you give me good feedback or bad feedback, it might have impact on how I stand here. This is directly connected, the self, with the whole body. And they proved it. And they proved it, and it can be measured, it can be seen. And Professor Joachim Bauer is absolutely working on that. And this is really, when we look at the fields, the three fields that Viktor Frankl defined, the sources of meaning, and looking at, it needs to be said, meaning cannot be made, it has to be found by each of us. Yeah? There are many meanings, there are many senses, purposes, not only one, many. And one source is the doing, the making, the creating, being, in German we say, creating, schaffen. That's a different word to working, because working can also be, we can be worked. Yeah, so this is the active version of working. And this is really no surprise, because one of the key, the basic needs of a human is this doing. We all want to do something, and this is absolutely essential. But creating something. And in this relation, it is absolutely key, the human is not an object. This is super essential. And we don't want to be seen as an object. And by this, we have this absolute will in creating perfectly something together with people. We want to have recognition. This is another basic need of us. And we want to belong to a group, to a family, to someone, to a football club. These are the three basic needs: doing, getting recognition, and we want to belong to something. So having this in mind, it is really important to see, going back on the field, it is important to consciously, and this will give meaning, to consciously understand what I'm doing, to whom, with whom am I doing something, and what I do. And it is also important really to be aware about this. And when we look at, how do we spend our time during our being awake time? Obviously, we find a lot of meaning in family, in our kids, no doubt about it. But 2/3 of our awake time, we're dealing with business, usually. So should we find also meaning in what we're doing in business? So yes, there are numbers usually. We are all professionals here. We need to have to meet the numbers. But behind the numbers, or how are numbers created, they are human beings. There are customers. There are customer needs. I think everyone here sitting has eventually customer needs to fulfill satisfaction. And we have a variety of people sitting here that have different professions. But in the end, usually it's collaborating with persons to achieve, to satisfy humans' needs. And this is so important to understand, to consciously look to whom are we talking, with whom, how do we creating, what are we doing in a conscious way to find meaning behind it. And this is something everyone here can reflect on and need to find. And obviously, you being on ISH, this is a perfect ground where we can find tools and also inspiration on this way to find the meaning in what we are doing as a profession. We have chosen this profession at some stage. Obviously, here and also when you're at home, you need partners to do that. Here you can find partners, or partly here I see faces I know. We can foster our relationship again after those 4 years, and it's really a lot we can find here on inspiration, on new solutions, on innovations, on sustainability, and we see sustainability as both people, society, and the planet. And also here we have very great new sustainability solutions. I'd like to mention SAFE. SAFE is a revolution here, the first working separation toilet, the first industrial project coming out of the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and we are all together in this path to sustainability. We're on this together, and here's a lot still to do, in networking and dialogue, and I would like to invite you on this path together. And by the way, this gives me personally also a lot of meaning and sense. So the next way is really events, and we are sitting here and we are searching events, and as a human this is a nice thing. We also find meaning in just being there and taking, and reflecting in the situation. We can find it in nature, we can find that in being together with our friends. Let's cherish that, let's celebrate those moments, and this can give meaning. This is a nice area if we are conscious enough to take it. And surprisingly, well, or not surprisingly, the world is not just a picnic. It's a polarity, the darks, the whites. There is also the feel of suffering. It's not always so pleasant or so joyful. So Viktor Frankl said there is also a sense within suffering. It depends on us. So every human can decide whether the suffering makes also sense for us. And there's also the field of responsibility. We can go through it and we are responsible. And through that we can keep our heads up and be responsible and go through that. And he also said, he had a very hard, I mentioned it, tough situations in his life, but he said every human being has situations that are disrupting, that are unpleasant and very painful within family, the illness, and it's about really how to deal with it, and every one of us can decide how to do it. And well, we said success, and it's the why is a success factor. If you find the meaning behind what you're doing, the result will come. This is the best way of, without thinking all the time on the number, we can really get successful in what we are doing. And obviously it's also the point on how do we personally define success for us. I find it very success that we meet here together on ISH and get into dialogue, and we have many great moments in getting back together and meeting dear friends and partners again, and this is also a success for me. I take that. Remember, it's everything what we do ourselves is on, and we are in resonance. So this is really enlightening and it's really giving us permanent reflection, and this goes on the body. So, for example, I couldn't get my smile out of my face over the last days. It was brilliant to meet and greet everyone here. And this has a positive impact on health. Remember, this is really, it has a positive and a negative, right? And a person that has worked in this field for many, many years, 40 years, is actually teaching also on this topic of psychosomatic, psycho first as a mind, and then somatic, the body. So it's this close collection is Dr. Rüdiger Dahlke. He has written, I think now 74 books, not only on psychosomatic, also on many health aspects. And this is a great treasure to find inspirations on well-being and these further aspects. And what he's saying, let's build a field of infecting health and fields of meaning and for finding meaning together. And that's my message also today. Let's build together on these sources, on these fields to find meaning. And I hope you're going to get inspired here in Laufen today on this booth, on our Laufen City for your way to find the meaning. Thank you very much.